So we're going to get the chicks and bring them out. And what we did here is we put a little basket on top of the feed container, and we have a little piece of paver that is busted off, just holding that down. The chicks love to get into the top of these things, and we just want to keep them out. I mean, they're going to soil up some of this anyway, but we really want to keep them out. Get the heat lamp set up. It's going to sit over here, and this will be the kind of the warm end, and then it'll get cooler as you go this way and up to that end, and that way the chicks can decide where they want to go based on how they feel. That's usually a pretty good way of doing things. So we just got to get the chicks in here and then get the heat lamp set up the way we want. It's all coming together. Here come the chicks. What? Hey, there we go.
I do want to hold them though.
That's fine. Just put them in nice.
They blend in.
There we go. They're getting a snack already. Very good.
Yeah, this
Feeding
one looks
time.
scary. Can I get one?
So we have golden phoenix, well bar, Easter eggers, and leghorns.
I won't let those one.
I love to see happy
That's
birds.
a ton. Happy in my hand.
So this is kind of the final product. We'll do a little bit of modification to this. It'll be a little bit of a pain to get in and out of to give them fresh food and water, but it's not a real long process to take this apart. And in the future, we could certainly build some kind of a frame and then put this wire on it, and it would be a whole lot easier to deal with. But this will work for now. If you guys want to take the green old tabletop, you'll notice we're using a lot of scrap. So we like to show there's a lot of junk that you may have laying around that you can use to put this stuff together. The chicks don't care how it looks. The animals aren't going to care how it looks. We just need it to be functional and somewhat frugal. This is what things look like now that we have it all penned up. We do have a couple little holes for them to get some fresh air. There's actually a lot of little holes around here where the heat lamp is, but last night they did really good with this, and we just want to make sure that we keep it warm enough in there for them to stay alive, and yet not, make it sweltering hot. So that should be good. And I usually check out the window to see activity. Sometimes I actually come out and I'll move the heat lamp and check in there to see how things are going. I think things will be good. And then we'll come out tomorrow sometime and take all this stuff back off again. Time to go eat pizza. Just a quick update on our chickies. Here's what they look like now. Some of them have gotten a little bit bigger. The compost bedding has definitely risen some. We put a second paver underneath this water here. And we gave them, well, I freshened up their water anyway. That'll be good for the night. And then we gave them feed for the night. And since it is a little cooler, I think it'll be in the 50s tonight. We'll make sure that when we put their roof on, that it doesn't have a lot of holes in it for the breeze to move that warmth. But they did great last night, and I think the low was close to 52, and all of them did just fine. And I think the low tonight's going to be in the mid 50s, something like that. It'll be warmer than last night, so they should be just fine. We have the chicken tractor where it's supposed to go over here now. One of the other things that we used to do in Pennsylvania, and we'll be doing here too, any low spots where you have critters that might be able to get in, we'll block it with different things like pieces of concrete block, or in this case we have a little bit of junk wood over there. And we're not using anything too heavy yet, just because this whole section here will get covered with a piece of tin, and that'll cover that. So it'll be a bit difficult for an animal to get in there to just scratch that out. They'll have to move the tin first. Not saying that they couldn't. The other thing too is you may notice we have it in fairly close proximity to our home, and that usually dissuades larger critters from just coming on up and doing whatever they feel like doing. Backside here, there's really no low spots. Over on this side, the tin's here blocking it, but I think there was some low spots. And then in the front, there's not really any low spots to speak of. And this is on a bit of a hill, so when we put their feeder in and their water, well, we'll have to think a little bit how we want to block the side so the water doesn't just spill out, because you can't just leave it on a slant and expect the water is going to stay full. It'll just keep running out. So we'll have to go get the tin from Dave's place. I got the van sitting there and running. He had to go to town quick for something, but he'll be back, so we'll be heading on down the road here in a minute to grab that extra tin. And then, as long as everything goes fine, we'll be putting chicks in here this evening. And I think that'll make pretty much everybody happy, right? Yeah. One of the things that we talked about was putting them possibly up here on the mound where our septic system is. And you can see it's nice and tall and green and everything like that. But generally speaking, you don't want to start your chicks out on heavy duty forage like this right away. At least it was advised against. So, because I believe what happens is it's not good for their digestive system immediately, and they actually will have stool that's too runny and they can die as a result. But we do want to get them started pretty quickly in forage. So what we did was we put some dry grass that we had cut from over here into their brooder the beginning of the week, and it wasn't as wet, you know, it was basically hay, and they scratched through that and pecked through that, and that helped to get them used to some of it. And then I cut a little bit of grass the other night and fed it to them green, and all but I think one got through that. So we're putting them at a spot that has grass that's growing, but it's not a ton, and we're going to move them in a way that's not going to bring them over here, but rather we're probably going to move either this direction, or we'll move this direction, move down this way. We'll see. We'll have to play it by ear. Well, this looks like it might be Dave coming right now. Perfect timing. We'll just follow him down the road. Y'all can look through my nice dusty windows, or windshield, or the thing in the front here that blocks the wind from coming in and hitting me in the face and stuff. My brain just does not work like it used to. Oh well. You may have figured this out, or maybe not, but it's actually the next day. Spent a lot of time at Dave's last evening trying to solve all the world's problems. We didn't solve anything, but we had a good chat. So today we are in fact going to move the chicks as they are over into the chicken tractor over here. So we grabbed extra tin, just like you see over there, and we will put that extra tin on this side, over here, and along the back there, at least at night. The days are going to be pretty warm. I believe we got highs in the 90s coming starting tomorrow, and we're getting towards the end of March, but that kind of weather is fairly normal as you get towards the end of March. So anyway, we're going to keep taking this thing apart so we can get the chicks out and move them over to their new home. We now have an empty brooder, and we have a chicken tractor with a bunch of chickies in it. They're already scratching and pecking and snacking on some little bugs. It's great. Now it'll be a while till we get a bunch that are large enough that we have to either move some to another chicken tractor or possibly even move some of the larger ones over to an eggmobile and get them used to going in and out every night. But that would be our next step before we have them in the eggmobile full time. They got fresh water, and they got fresh food. And one other thing that we'll do this evening is we'll grab the tin and we'll set that up, and we also want to get their heat lamp in place. It's not supposed to be a real cool night. It's going to be lows in the low 60s, and they'll also have the opportunity to move around, and they'll be able to decide whether they want to be under the heat lamp, away from the heat lamp, or kind of somewhere in between. We also put the perch over here too, just to let them get a little familiar with it. There is a second round of new chicks here. There's roughly 30 of them. I think the exact count's 29, but you know, we don't need to go crazy with being exact here. The end result is we want about 75 laying hens in the end. Well, between 60 and 75, but 75 is kind of the top range. So I wanted to show you, they have been out for a day, I believe. They got moved out yesterday, and my son came by to clean things out, and he took the deep bedding that was in here from the other chicks, and he just kind of dumped it here. I'm not sure exactly what that was about, but a little misunderstanding. Well, it had bugs and all kinds of good stuff in it, so I picked it up, put it in the tote, and then I gently dumped it in a pile in here while the chicks were moved to the other side, and spread it out. So there's some feed in there, there's bugs, and there's a little bit of fresh bedding in there as well, and that just creates a good deep compost bedding that I didn't really want to disturb. Now it's all fluffed up, and that's okay, because these chickies, they'll pack it back down again. We had to put 2 pavers in to raise up their water and their feeder. I don't know how well you can see that. That way they don't just inundate their water and feeder with bedding.